Is everybody present at the meeting now?
I think so.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Okay, we're going to go ahead and open the meeting here. It looks like we're live now. So we're ready to open the Gardena City Council regular meeting for Tuesday, August 11, 2020. Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Madam Mayor.
Here.
Sir. Mayor Pro Tem Henderson.
Here.
Councilmember Tanaka.
Here.
Councilmember Cascanian.
Present.
And Councilmember Francis. She seems to be having some audio issues, but I know she's here, so we'll declare her as being present. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to go into closed session. Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody from the public wishing to speak on any closed session items?
No, we do not, Madam Mayor.
Okay, so at this time, we're going to adjourn right now until 7:30, and we're going to go into closed session, and then we will reconvene the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
On the side there. Just
Okay, can you hear me now? Yes, no?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. I'm back.
Yeah. You just have to adjust the camera
Oh, yes.
a little bit. Here we go.
Yeah, thank you. All righty.
Are we just waiting for Mark?
We're missing Mark.
Oh, there he is. Okay, everybody, let's mute our phones here. Let me make sure, see if we're live. See, are we live yet?
Mayor Serta,
Yes.
you can go ahead and start the meeting.
Live? Okay. Okay, we're ready to begin tonight's City of Gardena City Council meeting for Tuesday, August the 11th, 2020. Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Henderson,
Here.
Councilmember Tanaka,
Here.
Councilmember Cascanian, Councilmember Cascanian,
Muted.
Present. Sorry.
thank you. Councilmember Francis,
Here.
Mayor Serta.
Here. Okay, before we go forward here, let me just read this little disclaimer here. In order to minimize the spread of the COVID-19 virus, Governor Newsom has issued executive orders that temporarily suspends the requirements of the Brown Act. Please be advised that the council chambers are closed to the public and that some or all of the Gardena City Council members may be attending this meeting telephonically or by Zoom. If you would like to participate in this meeting, you can participate via the following options. 1, you can view the meeting live on Spectrum Channel 22 or online at youtube.com/City of Gardena. The second way is participate before the meeting by emailing the Records Management Coordinator at bromero@cityofgardena.org by 5 p.m. on the day of the meeting and write public comment in the subject line. Comments will be read into the record up until the time limit of 3 minutes. The third way to participate during the meeting via Zoom webinar, join the Zoom meeting via the internet or via phone conference. The direct URL is https://us0.web.zoom.us/84444074536. The phone number is area code 669 844-900-9128, and the meeting ID number is 844-4407-4536. If you wish to speak live on a specific agenda item during the meeting, you may use the raise your hand feature during the item you wish to speak on. For non-agenda items, you will be allowed to speak during the oral communication, and during the public hearing, you will be allowed to speak when the mayor opens the public hearing. Members of the public wishing to address the city council will be given 3 minutes to speak. The city of Gardena thanks you in advance for taking all the precautions to preventing the spread of COVID-19 virus. So at this time, Madam City Attorney, do we have anything to report from closed session?
Yes, Madam Mayor. With regards to item number 1 on the matter of Luis Antonio Gutierrez versus the City of Gardena, Council was notified that the plaintiff and the city recently participated in a mediation wherein the mediator recommended a settlement in the amount of $450,000, to which the plaintiff has agreed. Tonight, the Council, by a unanimous vote of 5-0, agreed to accept the mediator's recommendation in exchange for the plaintiff dismissing the lawsuit. That concludes the lawsuit, and that concludes my report tonight. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Next, we're going to begin with our Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight, it will be led by our Mayor Pro Tem Henderson, and immediately following that will be our invocation, which will be led by Councilmember Tanaka.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Would all please put your right hand over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for your blessings, your mercy, your kindness. We thank you for this meeting tonight, that it would be fruitful and meaningful. And we just thank you for the patience that you give us during this time. We pray for those that are hurting, those that are wondering what's going to happen to their businesses and their homes. And Father, we just know that you'll be with them during this time, and that you will be walking with them and supporting them and all that you can do. So Father, we thank you for this meeting. We thank you for all those that are watching tonight, and may we bring hope to them. And so for that, we thank you in your name, Son. Amen.
Amen. Thank you to both of you guys for leading us in the pledge as well as the invocation tonight.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Next, we're going to move on to presentations. We have a couple of certificates of commendations of special recognition of retirement and longtime service to the city of Gardena. I'd like to turn that over to our city manager, Clint Osorio. Mr. City Manager, you're muted still. If you can start again.
I apologize. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members of the City Council, typically what we would do with our beloved retirees is we would have them come up in our City Council meetings and properly commend them and give them certificates. But since because we have COVID-19, we're going to do this virtually for now, and then invite them to come back if they so wishes to come back during more regular times and properly honor them. So I'm going to start with Ms. Gina Ayers, Administrative Analyst 3 from the Gardena Police Department. I'm going to read a little bit of a bio and her accomplishments, and then Chief Sotelo is going to chime in and speak a little bit about Ms. Ayers. Gina Ayers was hired by the City of Gardena on May 5th, 1980. She was hired as part of administration in the City Manager's office with the title of Steno Clerk. She was quickly considered an asset to the department, and as a result, she was assigned many different job duties and titles throughout the years. In September of 1980, she was placed in the City Attorney's office as acting Executive Legal Secretary. A year later, in November of 1981, she was moved to what was then known as the Maintenance Department as a Senior Secretary. Her dedication to the city did not go unnoticed, and in 1983, she was reclassified as Administrative Secretary. Throughout the years, Gina held positions within the City Manager's office, Public Works, and the Police Department. While in the City Manager's office, she held the title of Executive Assistant. In every department and position, she left her mark, and that is why she was asked to return to the Police Department in September of 2000 as Administrative Assistant to the Chief of Police. During her years with the Police Department, Gina held titles such as Support Services Supervisor, Executive Office Assistant, and Administrative Analyst 3. In her 40 years with the city, Gina demonstrated excellent service through hard work and dedication. Her expertise and exemplary work will be truly missed. The City of Gardena and the Gardena Police Department thanks Gina for her 40 years of service and wishes her the very best in her retirement. Chief Safel?
All right, can you all hear me? All right, very good. So I know Gina is listening tonight. I just talked to her a few minutes ago, and I just want her to know how appreciative I am of all of her work. Everyone should know that she's a very good employee, but she's even a better person. She's meticulous and dedicated to doing the best job she can, and she does it all the time. And because of that, she's exactly the type of employee that we want at City of Gardena, and the one that meets all the expectations of our community. So on behalf of our Gardena Police Department, and I know of our City Council, we wish her the best of luck, and we will definitely miss her. But happy retirement, Gina. That's it.
Sorry,
Anybody?
I'm playing the unmuting game. So let's just give her a round of applause, everyone. That's the best I think we can do. So, Gina, if you're watching, congratulations again. Mr. City Manager, go ahead.
Okay, next up is Sergeant Brian Juckett. Sergeant Brian Juckett has the distinction of being the most senior sworn member of the Gardena Police Department. Sergeant Juckett joined the Gardena Police Department as an explorer in 1979, and from 1983 to 1986, Sergeant Juckett served as a police cadet. On May 23, 1986, Sergeant Juckett graduated from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Academy Class 230. In his 41 years with the department, Brian served in almost every capacity as an officer. Brian served as a motor officer, multiple stints as a field training officer, canine officer, gang officer, special investigations investigator, gang detective, and administrative officer. In every position Brian has held, Brian made his mark, and he served as a member of the Gardena Police Officers Association Board, rising to the rank of president in 2006. In 2002, Brian was voted by his peers as Officer of the Year. In 2008, Brian was promoted to the rank of sergeant. And as a sergeant, Brian was assigned to Patrol, Special Investigations Division, and was the founding supervisor of the Crime Suppression Unit. Most notably, Brian was a leader in advanced officer training, canines, and SWAT. Brian has served as a member of the Gardena Police Department SWAT team for 32 years. In that time, he has held every position on the team, retiring as a senior sergeant and team leader. Brian has been a pivotal and one of the most consistent members of the SWAT and tactical community in the South Bay. Brian has a distinction of not only being sergeant, but also a doctor, earning his PhD in Business Administration in 2016. Brian has been an exemplary leader to his Gardena Police Department family and in the South Bay. He will be remembered for his dedication, consistency, hard work, and will truly be missed. Brian, thank you for your service and enjoy your retirement. Chief Bell?
So Brian grew up in this department. Of his 41 years, he was mentored by other officers that have worked here in the past, and he's a direct reflection of the quality employee that we always strive to have. He was a premier SWAT tactics instructor in the South Bay. He's responsible for teaching and mentoring over half the officers at the Gardena Police Department. And I owe him personally my greatest debt for mitigating many critical incidents for our SWAT team and from our crime suppression unit over the years. So please join me in offering a round of applause to Sergeant Brian Juckett for his 41 years of service.
Congratulations.
Mayor, Serta, and members of City Council, and last but not least, we have Sharon Robinson Pasley as our last retiree for this evening. Sharon was hired by the City of Gardena in February of 2002 as a parking enforcement officer. Sharon quickly established a reputation as a level-headed hard worker. After 3.5 years as a parking enforcement officer, Sharon was transferred to the Records Bureau as a part-time police assistant. In her role as police assistant, Sharon displayed an aptitude for organization and records management. She was eventually assigned to the Traffic Services Bureau, where she worked for over 11.5 years. Sharon was instrumental in administering the parking citation program, training new parking enforcement officers, maintaining traffic records, and answering tough questions from every level of our organization. It is fair to say that several traffic investigators and traffic sergeants would have been lost without her. She was always able to find the answer to any question. Her expertise was very much appreciated by her coworkers and the public as well. Sharon retired on July 7, 2020, after over 18 years of service. She describes her time at Gardena as the best job she ever had. The City of Gardena recognizes Sharon's excellent service for the past 18 years. She will be missed, and we wish her all the best in the years to come. Okay?
Yes, Sharon Robinson was one of the most positive and upbeat employees that I've ever seen. She's always given her best. She's knowledgeable, she's dedicated, and she commanded the Traffic Services Bureau for many years. She's provided the citizens of Gardena with the highest level of service, and that whole bureau, the Traffic Services Bureau, is going to miss her immensely. So again, please join me in a round of applause for 18 years of service from Sharon Robinson. We're going to miss you, Sharon.
Congratulations again. It's a lot of experience they're leaving, so. All right, we wish them well in their retirement there, and we really appreciate all the years of experience that they brought to the city of Gardena. Thank you again. Okay, so at this time, we're going to move on to our consent calendar. I'm sorry, our appointments. Does any member of the council have any appointments to be made to any commissions, committees, councils, or boards at this time? If not, we're going to move on to our consent calendar. Madam City Clerk, has any member of the public asked to speak on any item on the consent calendar?
I apologize.
Okay.
No, Madam Mayor, no one has asked to speak.
Okay, thank you. Does any member of the council have any items that they wish to discuss separately?
Madam Mayor, it's Mayor Pro Tem Henderson. I do have one item, voucher number 160200.
Okay, I'm sorry, which item does that fall up under? Under A, B, C, D?
It's under the voucher list, under A, I guess.
Under A?
Yeah.
Okay, so at this time, let's pull that one item and we'll talk.
Actually, item C, sorry.
Item C, City Treasurer?
Yes.
Okay. Council member have any items that they wish to pull at this time? Okay, if not, can I get a motion approving the consent calendar with the exception of item number C at this time?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'm sorry, who did the second?
Tanaka.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Francis and a second by Councilmember Tanaka. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Francis,
Yes.
Councilmember Tanaka,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay, next we're gonna go to excluded.
Madam Mayor, I had an item.
Yes, that's what I'm going to announce
Okay,
it.
6. All right.
Under the excluded consent calendar
I
item.
forget. I'm excited about it.
That's okay. Item number C, go ahead with your question.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and everything. And it's really not a scrutiny. Just want to make sure that we're on top of it. Mr. City Manager, in regards to our CalCard expenditures at $25K, I just wanted to make sure that management and all the divisions are scrutinizing the expenditures as well as yourself, and to make sure that we have funding to cover those expenditures month to month. I just want to double check that.
Right. If you have a voucher number, we can look at it right now if you would like to.
Oh, yeah, it's 160200.
What page is that on?
Page 19 of the voucher list, at the top.
Page 19, you said, Mark?
Yes, sir.
So, Mayor Pro Tem, is your question just in general on the call card as far as how we scrutinize it and how we approve these purchases?
Yeah, I just want to
Not
make sure that there's some oversight in regards to the expenditures. Are some of these expenditures going to be part of CARES Act and we can get refunded? Or I just want to make sure that there's budget covering these expenditures so we don't go out of whack month to month.
Absolutely, and that's a very good question, Mayor Pro Tem. What our call card statement is one of the most scrutinized statements and vouchers that we go over, simply because there's discretionary spending there as far as managers and directors, and even myself. We have cal card, obviously, to cover some of the expenditures. So there's multiple layers in the finance department, and they go through right down to, for instance, for a training, or let's say you have a hotel bill, for instance. We go through them and make sure that any excludable items are not included in the voucher. For instance, if you purchased a movie, for instance, in your hotel bill, we would flag that. We'd go through line by line and flag them to make sure that that's not included in the voucher for the city, and have the employee actually pay for those personal items.
So we check budget first or after to make sure there's funding?
We absolutely check the budget first to make sure that we have enough budget to cover these expenditures, and then we approve them. And then when the employees come back, they file a expense report, and then that's when we scrutinize the expenditures and which ones are actually included and excluded on the invoices or receipts. But to answer your other question, as far as the CARES Act money, because some of these I believe are going to be related to COVID-19. So yes, we're going to be tracking those. We actually have a separate fund for them to spend whatever, the $750,000 that we received from the state. We would be reconciling that and make sure that everything is tied to COVID-19 and the expenditures.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Yep.
You muted, Tash. Madam Mayor, you're muted.
Thank you. That being said, can I get a motion to approve the one excluded item, consent calendar item, which is item number C1 or C1A?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
I'm sorry, who's second?
Tanaka.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Henderson and a second by Councilmember Tanaka. Will you call the roll, please?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Tanaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian,
Yes.
Councilmember Francis,
Yes.
and Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay, next, moving on to Planning and Environmental Quality Commission action sheet. Item number 7A, which is a site plan review. Item number 4-19. It's a tentative track map, 2-19. Looks like there was no action taken because the item was continued to the August 18th, 2020 meeting. So there's nothing needs to be done on that item there, 7A1. Item number 7A2, which is site plan review, 1-19. It's a variance, 1-20, and tentative track map, 1-19. Any questions or concerns? If not, we're going to go ahead and receive and file this item. We can move on to oral communications. Madam City Clerk, do we have any speakers for tonight's oral communications?
Madam Mayor, I do not see any hands up, and I do not know of anyone that wishes to speak at this time.
Okay, thank you. Next, we're going to move on to our departmental items. Item number 8C1, Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda item 8C1 is to approve the agreement with HF&H Consultants, LLC, to provide the City of Gardena with solid waste contracting services. Current franchise agreement with Waste Resources has been in effect since July 1st, 2020, and shall continue until June 30th, 2023. The agreement provides collection, removal, and disposal of municipal solid waste generated by residents and commercial customers, and services related to meeting the diversion goals required by the California Integrated Waste Management Act of 1989. Waste Resources reached out to the city requesting a minimum of 15-year extension on their current franchise agreement with the city. Based on the nature and technicality of the contract, the implementation of new legislations that are not addressed in the existing contract, and current staffing levels, staff determined that the best interest of the city is to utilize a third-party consulting company to assist the city with the solid waste contracting services. HF&H has over 20 years of experience as subject matter experts relating to solid waste, recycle, compliance, and environmental mandate requirements. HF&H has consistently provided responsible economic, financial, strategic planning, and legislative insight for solid waste matters, including contract negotiations for several municipalities throughout the state of California. They have assisted more than 180 jurisdictions in procuring recycling and solid waste related services, evaluating proposals to provide service, and negotiating and drafting new or revised contracts for the provisions of those services. Those some of the examples of the cities that recently used them is Hawthorne, Carson, and Redondo Beach in the South Bay. Cost to have HF&H assist with these contract negotiations is not to exceed $89,000. However, a portion of these fees or all of these fees can be reimbursed through contract negotiations. The initial fund shall be paid through the city's general fund and tracked through a separate trust account. The financial impact is $89,000 from the general fund and will be tracked again in a separate trust account, as a portion or all of these fees can be reimbursed through contract negotiations. What's required tonight is approve the agreement with HF&H.
Okay, does any member of the council have any questions or comments?
Tanaka.
Go ahead.
Okay, so are we doing this, because I mean, 89,000 is no small drop in the bucket, but are we doing this because we're trying to update what's not in the contract with the current company, and we're trying to be competitive by putting it out to bid?
So, Councilmember Tanaka, we're doing this because there are certain provisions of the law, recycling and refuse law, that have been enacted recently that the city staff does not have expertise in the field.
Right.
Also, we're doing this because we're currently negotiating with Waste Resources for what potentially could be a very, very long extension, which is about 15 years minimum. So we want to cross our T's and dot our I's and make sure that we understand exactly the nuances that's involved in this contract, so that we can properly address that during our negotiations with them as far as franchise fees and other benefits to the city and the community.
So is a 15-year contract extension kind of unusual? 'Cause that's, to me, when I saw this, I go, 15 years, that's kind of a long time down the road.
Right. The contract varies really. We have some examples from other cities that have enacted certain RFPs or extensions. The longer the thing with Waste Resources, the reason why they're asking for such a long extension is because they're planning on revitalizing their fleet of garbage trucks into
Right.
more
Electric.
green as electric and all that. So they need the infrastructure and they need the capital to do that. And by securing a longer term contract, they're able to leverage that on more favorable borrowing with their creditors and their banks. And so we saw the plan that Waste Resources was presenting to us as far as this big upgrade that they're doing. So 15 years is actually not unusual for something this magnitude that they're doing. What we're worried about is that what can the city benefit from this 15-year relationship with WRG?
Right.
Because we have seen other cities that have benefited tremendously by signing a long contract with them. community benefit items. I also want to add that we have Debbie Morris from HF&H Consultants here tonight. She'll be able to answer any questions related to their firm. But did I answer the question, Councilmember Tanaka, as far as the
yeah. Okay, yeah, no, that's fine, yeah.
Madam Mayor, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Mr. City Manager, who does our solid waste at this time?
WRG, Waste Resources.
Waste Resources.
And why aren't we continuing with them? I mean, they refuse to continue doing it, or we?
No, actually, they would love to continue doing business with us, and quite frankly, I mean, we're evaluating their performance as well. But they came to us, and their contract's not due till 2023.
Yeah.
But they came to us because they have an opportunity to revitalize their fleet, improve their infrastructure, but they can't do that without a commitment from the city of a longer term contract, like 15-year contract. And that's why, we're kind of in the middle of, 2020 and 2023 as far as, we're not there yet for renewal, but, they need our, commitment, a 15-year commitment, so that they can go out and leverage that, that commitment with their infrastructure improvement.
Okay. So we're going to go into an agreement with the HF&H consultant for $89,000 starting once we approve this agreement, right?
That is correct.
And we're going to pay them $89,000. Since Waste Resource doing this, why are we going to them?
I'm sorry?
Since Waste Resource does it right now until 2023, right? We still have until 2023.
Right.
So it's in the contract for them to do the solid waste too as well. So why are we hiring HF&H until?
We're hiring HF&H because we do want to consider WRG's proposal as far as revitalizing their fleet, giving the community, newer trash bins and being cleaner to the environment and all that. We do want to, entertain that, but at the same time, we're not equipped currently to negotiate the contract and the new laws that have been enacted since us signing with Waste Resources. From the inception of our contract with them, we need help in interpreting that and negotiating with them a favorable community benefit portion of the contracts, not just the franchise fees, but other items such as CPI, inflators, and other
So this contract is going to be until we sign, maybe 10, 15, or whatever it's required, or whatever we come up with HF&H Consulting is going to be up until that time, and then they phase out.
That's correct. The contract with HF&H is just for procurement of either we renew and extend our contract with WRG, or we go into RFP and get a new waste hauler in the city.
Okay, thank you.
So it's not that they're doing a bad job, it's just the fact that the contract is coming up and they're asking at an early date now to try and help out their future.
That's correct.
But this company's going to help us with the contracting of how it's written and what's supposed to be in it. And there's a possibility that Waste Resources could actually be the company again.
Absolutely.
And if it doesn't work out, then we go to RFPs.
That's correct.
Okay.
It's our by no means is WRG. We're not doing this early because WRG is not doing a good job or not doing their job. This is, I want to reiterate again, they came to us for an opportunity to green their improve their fleet and their infrastructure. So we're actually accommodating them by going through the process, hiring a consultant to represent us, and then wrap it into the contract with them, whatever the cost is with the HF&H.
So we're doing our due diligence. That's fine.
That's correct.
Madam Mayor,
Mark, give me 1 second. I also want to mention that if you guys have any questions for the consultant from HF&H, we have Debbie Morris, who's also on the line, if you guys have any questions for her. Mayor Pro Tem, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would like to speak to the Debbie Morris from HF&H Consulting to give us an example of what the with the new laws and the negotiation, what does it do to the proposal of WRG's 15-year extension, and what does it do to our pricing? If she could give us an example of why we're going to give $89,000 for that.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. This is Debbie Morris from HF&H Consultants. And what I understand is from what WRG is proposing, as the city manager said, is a new fleet of vehicles, replacement of containers, and then also some organics processing. One of the biggest issues that cities are facing right now is Senate Bill 1383. And Senate Bill 1383 says by January 1st, 2022, all generators of organic waste have to have a food waste program. So that means your residents have to have a food waste program. All the businesses that generate any food waste have to have a food waste program. These are expensive programs. There's a large cost to that. So it's very important to be able to negotiate with a hauler what those rates are going to be. HF&H actually was hired by Cal Recycle, which is the state agency who oversees the recycling and diversion activities of jurisdictions, to put together model ordinances and model franchise agreements for specifically addressing SB 1383. So we're bringing that expertise to the city. So not only will be negotiating with WRG what their proposal is to the city that's been stated previously, but also negotiating this new law, the new organics law that goes into place. The city can be fined if they don't have an organics program which follows all the very prescriptive procedures and requirements within SB 1383. They can face fines of up to, a jurisdiction can face fines up to $10,000 per violation per day of what they're not complying with SB 1383. So as the city manager stated, it's so important for cities now to have their contracts to make sure that they address all of the requirements of 1383. So that'll be a big part of what we'll be doing too, and updating your agreement, and then also negotiating with WRG to ensure that the city's getting the best that they can possibly get out of this agreement.
Okay, and thank you for that response, Ms. Moore. So the other part of my question is then, so in the negotiations with the Senate bill and everything, if it's not favorable to the city and everything, is then the recommendation that we go ahead and go to a competitive process and spend that time, additional time and funding as well, or just really sit down at the table and negotiate hard with WRG for their proposal, or with the conditions of their proposal?
So the first step, and that's what we're discussing tonight, is negotiations with WRG. So that would be the first step. And you would go to RFP if those negotiations, if the city deems, and HF&H will help you with that, if they deem that those negotiations are not successful, then the city would look at going to RFP. You're in a favorable position starting this now, as a competitive procurement takes about 18 to 24 months. So you're in a good position now. Having the current agreement with WRI doesn't end till 2023. So you have that time now in order to try and negotiate first, which is the city's wish. If the negotiations are unsuccessful, then going on to a competitive procurement.
And how would we know, and would we get to weigh in? Would you bring that back to us and say, negotiations aren't going well, council, here's our recommendation, and we'd have another chance to discuss that?
We'll be working directly with city staff on the negotiations. We always include, we don't do this kind of outside of, without city staff being there. We always have city staff involved in the negotiations, and then city staff can make any recommendations to council on that. But it's very much, it's a very inclusive process that we have, because we want everything to be very transparent.
Okay, and then my last point of that is that, so with the new Senate bill and that being included, and because we still have a little time in the existing contract, could that indeed, with all the new additives, help us get a more favorable rate, and then for our residents as well?
Maybe.
So I don't want to sugarcoat this about SB 1383 and the food waste. Diverting food waste is not inexpensive. So I don't want to sit here. I don't want to tell you that you're going to have a rate decrease through this process for residential. All cities right now are facing the same issues with having to look at diverting food waste starting January 1, 2022. And like I said, it's more expensive to do that than it is to landfill the food waste. And so, I would not be doing my job if I said you were going to get any kind of rate decrease. We will negotiate the most fair adjustment to your rates through our dealings with WRI. That's why we look at all the operating data. We look at all of their data and analyze that to ensure that absolutely what they're proposing to you is reasonable, and that's where our industry knowledge comes in. And right now we're helping over 70 cities working through this SB 1383 process. So we do have data that we can use to benchmark to ensure that the operating data that WRG proposes to back up the rates that they desire, that those are reasonable rates.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor, I have a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
So, first of all, what was the length of, or what is the length of our current contract that expires in 2023? How many years does that include? I don't know, city manager?
Oh, yes. So it is 13 years.
It was 13.
So our initial contract with the WRG was in 2010.
Okay. And the my other question is for Ms. Morris. In terms of you negotiating the new contract for us and all of that, and our investment of $89,000, how, I guess my question is, other cities that you've been involved in, have they been able to recoup that the money they invested, or they, you know what I'm trying to say? Do we realize that savings, $89,000 of savings through our new contract, if by working through you? Or
yes, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
The vast majority recoup the entire amount. There are some, and it's not a lot, that will do a revenue sharing with the hauler, but the vast majority are going to recoup that through the negotiation process.
And I have one more. Is the Senate Bill 1383, is that the only bill that's on the table right now the cities have to come in compliance with in terms of recycling, or are there other parts that
yes, there are. There's Assembly Bill 341, which you already have some programs, and that's the mandatory commercial recycling law, and that affects businesses and multifamily that generate a certain amount of waste per week. And then there's also Assembly Bill 1826, which is the mandatory commercial organics law. So that just focused on commercial businesses that generated a certain amount of solid waste and recyclables per week. And then SB 1383 is increasing that to cover anybody that generates any kind of organic waste, including food waste, that they have to have a program. So all of the language for all of those bills, we would incorporate into your amended and restated or your new agreement. All of that would be captured.
All right, and typically, we negotiate with the current, contract, and then you go out, and if that doesn't work out, then you go out and ask for, new proposals. Is that correct? Because I always thought it was the other way around. When the contract ended, you, asked for bids, where our contract was over. Are there other companies out there we can take a look at? But this time we're doing it the other way around. Is that, am I correct on that, or?
So, all cities are different. Some cities, they want to go out to competitive bid right away. Other cities, they want to try and negotiate, like Gardena is suggesting try and negotiate with their current hauler first. And if those negotiations aren't successful, then go on to a competitive RFP process. So that would be the way, if a city wants to negotiate, try negotiating first. They would try negotiating first and then go to RFP, unless they decided at the end of their current agreement, they just want to go out and do a competitive RFP process.
All right. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I have 2 points to make. First of all, we don't want to negotiate under the tense of when the contract expires, because we're basically not going to be we're not going to be negotiating from a position of an advantaged power, because once your contract expires, you essentially don't have a waste hauler, and then you're locked into your hands kind of forced into taking kind of whatever deal that they are giving you. And also, to the point of Councilmember Francis's question on the cost, the cost is $89,000 for our consultants to perform this work. But I want to remind you that the devil is actually in the details of every contract, and every contract for every city is different. I'm going to give you an example, because when the last time we negotiated a contract with WRG, we did not use a consultant. Okay. To compare that to some other cities that may have used a consultant, they've got a more favorable contract, in the sense that they were able to get like one-time fee. For instance, the city of Linwood, and they're with WRG as well, they received an initial franchise fee, a one-time initial franchise fee of $1 million for signing up with WRG. City of Gardena got $5,000. And another example is City of Carson received an annual infrastructure impact fee of $250,000 plus CPI. City of Gardena is not receiving any of that. So, we are going to pay a little bit for our experts at HF&H, but I think they're going to, be helping us as far as getting the best deal out there, as far as getting some of these, some of these one-time community benefit incentives out there.
I have a question. I'm unmuted. So are we also taking into account, I understand we're saying instances where we didn't get any money. Are we taking into account when our waste hauler donates money to our jazz festival and all these other events? I know it's not per se like an impact fee, but are we taking that into account? Because it seems like just about every event that I see that goes on, I see they are one of the sponsors, whether it's, I don't know, $10,000 or something. So are we adding that in there, or is that something that these other cities, they get in addition to the impact fee or something like that?
Absolutely, Madam Mayor. Obviously, I don't know the details that happened in 2010 when the original contract was first crafted. Perhaps that was, wrapped into the deal that, WRG is to provide, sponsorship, et cetera, et cetera. So, yes, absolutely. If they're providing, sponsorships and other benefits, of course, we're going to look at that as a cumulative, as a whole. But we just want to make sure that this time around we do it the right way, and look at every single, angle, every single facet of the contract, because it's a big contract. And it's a long contract. So we don't want to get stuck with something that we could have gotten something for, or et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, I see. And my question now is for Ms. Morris, Debbie Morris. So I know you mentioned that you guys are representing 70 cities right now. How many employees do you guys have in your organization? Because that's a lot of cities you're negotiating for.
Yes, we have 26 employees, and I'm happy to say that on the city's team, actually, Lausd, who's the senior VP in our Southern California office, he will be the engagement director, and he has directed every negotiation and competitive RFP that's come out of our Southern California office. And I'm also really happy to have Tracy Swanborn on the team also.
Okay.
And Tracy worked directly with Cal Recycle in developing the ordinances and the SB 1383 franchise agreements. And I'll be honest with you, if I didn't think that we could serve the city at the highest possible, at our highest possible skill level, then I wouldn't have proposed on the contract. So I am confident that we can do our best for you and that we have the staffing. I will be managing the project, so I will be the day-to-day person for the city. So I hope that helps.
It does, and thank you. I'm sure you're fully, the perfect person that we need for this. And I got a chance to look over, the resumes here. I just thought hearing that number 70, I'm like, that's a lot here. But so the other question I had is you were answering one of the previous council members' questions. Senate Bill 1383. What year did you say that was going to change as far as when the mandate would go for cities?
2022, January 1, 2022 is when all that you need to start. And this is interesting, a little bit off topic, and I'll be discussing this with the city staff also. There are a few ordinances that have to be passed as required by SB 1383, and then also public education and outreach, letting residents know we can't just all of a sudden on January 1, 2022 tell residents that, okay, now you need to put your food waste in this other container. You need to completely change the way you're doing things. So that is part of the process too, is not just all of a sudden this happens on January 1, 2022, but preparing for that and ensuring that there's enough preparation, that people have the public education and outreach they need in order to be successful.
Okay. I think that's great because I remember when we used to just put any trash can out many years ago before we went to the 3 trash cans. And it was a little bit of a rude awakening because it was just a little different. So you're right. We will need to do a little bit of a public education on that as well. Are there any other questions or comments?
Yes,
Madam Mayor?
Go ahead.
Oh, just a quick comment. Our current contract with WRG does include city contributions for sponsorship.
Okay. Thank you.
So I have one other question. Ms. Morris, in regards to sustainability in the negotiations as well as separation of garbage at multi-unit dwellings and everything, how will that be handled? Because a lot of those dwellings have a single big bin, and yet we want to require residents to now separate that garbage. So how would that be negotiated?
Well, the program would have to be compliant with SB 1383. And like I said, it's extremely prescriptive on what kind of collection programs can be offered, what material can go into what containers, and then the facilities where those containers have to go. So that would be part of your new agreement, is ensuring that whatever program is being offered, it is being offered so that it complies with the 1383 recycling and organics requirements.
So how will we then enforce that with property owners?
So 1383 does provide the city, actually requires the city to enforce the rules. And there are fines for generators within 1383. And so the city, there's a grace period until 2024 where the city will give out citations and notices of violation. And then the city has to start fining those people starting in 2024. So there's kind of a big, a lag area where cities will be giving out citations. We also try and incorporate some of that into the solid waste agreement. We understand right now more than ever city resources are really stretched. And so we try and negotiate into the agreement to have the hauler perform some of those site visits and warning notices onto the generators. So it's a big public education issue.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any more questions or comments?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Yes, this is City Clerk Semenza. We do have a speaker from the public who wishes to speak if you are all finished asking questions.
Okay, I believe so. Let's go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Rudy Martinez.
Okay.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council. Good evening. Hey, I just wanted to comment on this. From the citizen standpoint, I think that this is a little premature. I think this should be kind of kicked down the road a little bit. I think the city is not necessarily in a position, but think about if you think about it from the standpoint of it's going to apply to every city. If we're doing our jobs on city council and the mayor, we should have our relationships with other cities to find out from other cities what they're doing and how they're successful and what they're getting dinged for, or what are they going up to. I don't believe we need to bring on consulting. Just looking at the voucher list, we have a ton of legal services we're paying for and consulting we're paying for, and now another lawsuit that we're paying for. So we have 3 years on this contract. I say we kick this down a couple of years from now, and then we can start doing it. We have a company that's currently doing it. We have a relationship to cite Carson and Linwood. Do we understand when those contracts were done, and did they use a consultant? What's the specific of it? So it's more for the city manager. So just when we cite some of this stuff, it'd be nice from, the citizens that are paying the taxes, paying for stuff like this. It'd be nice to have all that information kind of just beforehand, so we understand, because we could throw stuff out there. Well, another city does it, but what's the understanding of it? Why are we talking about it now when businesses are closing for sure? I mean, honestly, I don't mean to be rude to the young lady, and she's very articulate and sounds like she knows what she's doing. Senate Bill 1383, I think, is something else. I think she's talking about Senate Bill 1332. Mostly applies to the commercial side, from what I skim here, and not necessarily the residential side. I think we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. So I get calls at my job all the time, soliciting, saying, "Hey, I could do this, I could do that for you." Well, I appreciate it. I'll take you. And when it's time to start negotiating contract, or if I need to get an RFP, but just from the cost benefit analysis, $90,000 is still the possibility of RFP, and you're asking a consultant to tell us what to do when we have to do it anyway, and all the other cities have to do it anyway. I mean, how well are our relationships with other cities to get their knowledge? And so that's all I wanted to say about that. I think this is kind of premature. I feel this should just be like, hey, let's save this for maybe next year, the end of 2 years from now, and not get into it. So I'm almost over my 3 minutes. Thank you so much for hearing me.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, are we back at full screen? Mr. City Manager, I have a question for you. Are there any existing lawsuits that we have right now with anything regarding waste hauling that I'm not aware of?
I'm not aware of anything, Madam Mayor.
Okay, and Ms. Morris, can you clarify for me, again, Senate Bill 1383, how it relates to residential, commercial? Could you, if you don't mind, just repeating that one more time? I just want clarification for myself, for the council, as well as the public as well.
Absolutely. So Senate Bill 1383 was passed by Governor Brown in 2016. And the legislator and CalRecycle have been formalizing those regulations, and the regulations should be formalized by September of October of this year. But the basis of 1383 is that all generators of organic waste, including food waste, have to have a diversion program for that food waste and other organic material. AB 1826, which was passed in 2014, that only, as I stated before, that only related to commercial businesses and multifamily as far as organics. So 1383 brings in all generators of organic and food waste.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing that with us. Are there any more questions?
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm sorry.
One more question, Madam Mayor. I was just wondering, so our contract
with WRG expires in 2023. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay,
That's correct.
20, we're more or less right around the corner from 2021. How long did you, Ms. Morris, did you say it would take to negotiate a contract or to do the research and all that to get to the point where we're ready to renegotiate? Is it
So,
a year, 2
oh, sorry, go ahead.
months, or how long does it take?
So to renegotiate a contract takes about 9 to 12 months. And so that's what I said. The city is in a great position starting now, because if those negotiations were unsuccessful, then you have time to go to a competitive request for proposals process. If you waited much longer to start the negotiations, you would be running out of time if those negotiations were not successful, and then you chose to go to a competitive RFP process. You would be really stretched for time. So now is really the time to start with the negotiations in order to give you that buffer time if you need to go to the 12 to 18 month RFP process, competitive request for proposal process.
Okay, is this typical of negotiations for most cities, or are we in a unique position, or?
Well, you know what? I'm really happy to tell you that you're in a good position, because a lot of cities have waited, maybe their agreement ends in 2021 or the end of 2020, and they don't have any extension provisions on there. So they are not in a good position, because right now you're in a good negotiation position, because you have that time to say, well, if this is not successful, you have the time to go to a competitive RFP process, where if your contract ended at the end of this year or sometime in 2021, you've lost your negotiation leverage at that point.
Oh, it's easy to look for a job when you have a job.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
Madam Mayor, I do want to a couple comments. I do want to echo Ms. Morris's sentiment as far as timing. Timing is of the essence, because it's really not smart to, like you said, it's not smart to negotiate when your contract is up. That's not the time to do that. It's not the time to do an RFP when you're nearing, you don't want to wait too long. And to answer the gentleman's question, yes, the city of Carson was part of the HF&H's prior clients, as well as 180 different jurisdictions that they've represented from the past. So they're very familiar with the process.
Okay, thank you. Are there any more questions or comments? If not, can I get a motion to approve the agreement at this time?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Tanaka and a second by Councilmember Kaskanian. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Tanaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Kaskanian,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Francis,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Next, we're going to move on to item number 7E1, Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda item 8E1
8E1.
is the execution of a 5-year contract with Axon Enterprise Incorporated for police body-worn video. In 2015, Gardena Police Department implemented a body-worn camera and digital evidence storage program. I do want to note that the city of Gardena is probably one of the first in South Bay to deploy the body-worn cameras. The department entered into a 5-year contract with Taser, now known as Axon Enterprise Incorporated, for the implementation of this program. All police officers have been utilizing this technology for the past 5 years to record both audio and video all interactions with the public. The video is stored utilizing a digital evidence storage solution called evidence.com, which allows for easy categorizing, retention, and review of all videos. The District Attorney's Office has the ability to review the video through evidence.com, creating a seamless and authenticated transmission of evidence. The original agreement expires in September of 2020. Therefore, PD now needs a new contract for body-worn video and digital evidence storage. PD has elected to continue with Axon due to ease of use, reliability, style, comfort, video quality, sound quality, audio and video capacity, uploading speeds, uploading ease of use, and battery life. I do want to note that the equipment that we're currently using is proprietary to Axon, and that going through a competitive process or RFP would mean that we would have to replace those cameras, and that would be very, very expensive. The new 5-year agreement will allow for 90 body-worn cameras and online storage. An agreement also includes 2 equipment upgrades, thereby allowing officers to continue to have the latest technology and ensuring all public interactions be documented. Axon will also be providing a value of $2,750 of training to ensure our staff is knowledgeable about the new technology, free of cost to the city. Purchase will be through Omnia Partners Contract Number 151089, also known as Omnia Partners Contracts, and are public contracts awarded by a government entity utilizing industry best practices, processes, and procedures. This allows vendors an opportunity to compete with their lowest bids and enables municipalities to obtain the overall best price for their procurement. Cities of Santa Monica, Garden Grove, and Simi Valley have all contracted with Axon for body-worn video utilizing the Omnia Partners Cooperative Agreement. The financial impact is $79,858.45 per year, totaling $399,292.25 for over 5 years. The funding source is general fund, and this has already been appropriated. What's required is authorize and execute our contract.
Okay, thank you. Does any member of the council have any questions or comments? Councilmember Kaskanian?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't know if this question goes to the city manager or the police chief. Right now, we're using the body cameras, and we're going to use this is a new company, right? Exxon?
No, it's the existing company.
I'm sorry, existing company. Do we have any complaints from the officers that, working properly, it's slow, picture is no good, audio is no good? Do we have any complaints from the officers before we move on with this contract approval?
I'm gonna defer to Chief Safel for performance.
Council Member Cascini, no, actually it's the opposite. Actually, they do enjoy it for a variety of reasons. The reliability of it obviously is very important, but then also the comfort and the video quality, the sound quality, the uploading speed when they come into the back lot and upload their video. I'm sorry, when they put it in their port and it's uploaded into evidence.com, and that's just a very easy process. So they enjoy the product that we have now.
So it's a good product at my understanding.
That's correct.
All right, thank you very much, Chief.
Any other questions or comments?
Yes, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Henderson. Mr. City Manager, in regards, I'm just trying to think about our consistency in decision making. So in this one, we're going to stay with the existing firm versus going out to competitive process. And I do agree, when you switch out technology, it could be pretty costly. So that part I understand. But what's stopping us from getting somebody hitting us with a no compete? We're not competing for this service.
I'm sorry, Mayor Pro Tem, I don't quite understand the question.
In regards to why are we putting this one out to a competitive process versus just
Mayor Pro Tem, if I may,
yes.
City Manager, the cooperative purchasing version of agreeing to or seeking out these agreements is an exception to the regular purchasing agreements. It allows us to not have, it's an exception to that. And the reason being is that these cooperative agreements have been so well vetted by many municipalities, and they're there and they're set and negotiated to give municipalities the best pricing possible by having so many municipalities participate in the process. And if you look specifically, our Gardena Municipal Code, section 2.60 1.40, which is the cooperative purchasing section, talks specifically about allowing it being an exception to the traditional purchasing of going out to RFPs and seeking other bids.
Thank you for that. So then my second point is, because this is sensitive stuff, Mr. City Manager, in regards to the 5-year contract, is it possible that we can look to see if years 4 and 5 can be funded from some other fund than a general fund?
We can certainly look for other funding sources. I believe in 2015, if I'm not mistaken, there was an opportunity, and we did utilize those opportunities to use other funding sources such as asset forfeiture and some of the grants. Those opportunities have now dried up. They're not available anymore, but certainly, obviously, if there are opportunities out there from the federal and state level, we're going to be looking at those and see if we can utilize some of those funding sources to augment general fund to pay for this very much needed tool that we have at our disposal.
And thank you. And this last question probably is for the chief. Chief, have we certified that Axon is not saving this our critical information in shared data centers or data centers that could be held or shared by some unscrupulous parties? We want to protect our data.
Mayor Pro Tem, that's a great question. In fact, the evidence.com is actually a Microsoft product, and that's, as you know, a federally approved secure network, which also has redundancy, and we're very confident in the security of that product.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. City Manager, I have a question, and this is kind of piggybacking off of Mayor Pro Tem. So if we're looking at maybe year 4 or 5 to go with another funding source, when we approve today, we're approving the full $399, correct? Or what happens if we approve this right now and then there's a funding source that comes up in year 4 and 5? Can we then divert then? Because we've already, I mean, what do we do? Does it come back to council and we say we found another funding source? How does that work?
What you're approving today is authorization to spend the $399,
Okay.
the $400,000 in 5 years. Whether or not we charge a general fund or we charge something else, that's going to be up to our discretion as far as you can do transfers. Obviously, if we do a large amount of transfer from one fund to another, we'll go back to City Council and a mid-year budget adjustment. But on any opportunity arises, obviously we're going to do it and then get it ratified through City Council as far as a mid-year adjustment, or go through the budget process.
Madam Mayor, if I may add, in the termination clause of this agreement, there is a provision in there that if for some reason the city can no longer fund this, we are able to terminate the contract without a cost to the city.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, go ahead.
why do we have to wait year 4 and 5? Can we do it sooner? Mr. City Manager?
What do we have to wait for?
Mayor Pro Tem said 4 and 5, but it has to be 4 and 5, or can we do it 1 and 2 or 2 or 3?
You can do it at any time. I mean, we're asking you to appropriate the $399, the $400,000 now.
No, I know. I understand. I mean,
Do we have other funding sources available?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be answering Mayor Pro Tem Henderson's answer. So right now there is no availability. There's no funding right now, alternative funding sources. But as you know, some of these things really, pop up here and there as far as opportunities. Next thing you know, there's a grant for here and a grant for that. We don't know what's gonna come up. But we're hopeful that there might be other funding sources for us to be able to augment the general fund. So yes, I mean, we can, certainly look at that and see if we can apply for certain grants out there that could materialize over the next couple of years.
We gotta put Ray Beeman on a mission.
He's Councilmember Cascane. He's already he's like a hound dog. He's already sniffing around and looking for other funding sources out there.
I know he's pretty good in that.
Yeah.
Okay, any more questions or comments?
I have a couple of comments.
Go ahead, Councilmember Tanaka.
So, because I was part of the police department back when we started everything in the South Bay. We had tape recorders before anybody did. We had in-car cameras before anybody did. We had the lapel cameras before anybody did. And with the current way things are going, the officers are totally happy with this camera system, and it works. And so, yeah, we could, this bidding system, we've done it with a lot of equipment that is done through the city. And this company is doing what it needs to do to upgrade the stuff that we're using. The funding sources, we used to use asset forfeiture, but even that's starting to dry up because we don't have people in task force that we get a big share of the money. And the task force right now probably aren't taking in a lot of asset forfeiture monies and properties and things. So yeah, we can start with the 79,000 because we're allocating the 399, but the budget amount is 79,000 per year. So like Mayor Pro Tem said, if we could find another funding source, well, as we're paying the 79,000, we could probably find something down the road, which is fine. But some of these funding sources are drying up, grants are drying up. It's just the way things are happening right now. So this is a great thing for us to do, especially with the atmosphere and the way things are going with police departments. That's all I gotta say.
I'd like to just concur with Councilmember Tanaka. He's absolutely right. And if anything, if I think this is a great, how can I say this? If we had to spend any money out of anything for our general fund here, spending the $399 is worth it because not only does it protect the police, but it protects us as a city to be able to see, if situations going on or there's some discrepancy. So I think this is just, out of everything, this is a great use of money right now out of our general fund. And if Councilmember Cascadian wants to donate $300,000, or something like that, we'll take it and finish paying.
Write the check.
Why not? Write a check.
Yeah, there we go.
Write the check.
Madam Mayor, can I add something too? I just want to be absolutely clear. The 400,000 over the 5 years is already appropriated from the general fund. It's already in our budget. It's already in our projections. What you saw as far as structural deficit and how we're going to fix the general fund, it's already in there. We're just asking you to approve the contract with Exxon to spend the 400,000.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. Okay. Any other questions or anything like that? If not, can
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Excuse me. We have a member of the public who wishes to speak on this matter.
Okay.
Rudy Martinez.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening once again. I have a couple questions in regards to this. Is there a company out there that we can hire a consultant, because we seem to be in the process of hiring consultants for stuff that needs to already be done. So I just wondering if we have that. Apparently we have no sources, what the city manager was saying, but we have $89,000 to go and spend on a consultant from a contract. So I'm just curious, with this service, should we get another consultant to look over this?
Okay, go ahead with your questions and we'll answer them all after you mention it, because you only have.
Wonderful, yeah, that's my question. And same thing too, when you become elected office, do you get some type of training or classes on this? Because a lot of questions seem to always get directed towards the poor city manager, and it always seems like an educational session every time we have a meeting. So I'm just curious, that's not being sarcastic, that's a legitimate question. I'm just curious, because I see there's $25,000 in credit card spending and reimbursement for other departments. I was wondering if that was the same for city council, to legitimately, have some knowledge and have some what could be looked at as an educated question when we get to stuff like this. So that's all I wanted to say. Those are just a couple questions. Thank you.
Okay, and just for clarification, because our city manager is the person who deals with all our different departments and deals with all these items, that is generally, as we as the council have questions, we refer them back to our city manager, because this is what he's dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And all of us, most of the time, we learn this over time here. And I believe there may be some classes out there, but in my 11 years of experience, the same questions I'm asking the first day is probably going to be the same questions I ask on the last day. So this is just kind of a norm for us here. With that being said, are there any other questions or comments before we take a vote on this? If not, can I get a motion to approve the contract, executing a 5-year contract with Axion? I think I pronounced it right, Axion Enterprise?
Tanaka, so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Tanaka and a second by Councilmember Cascanian. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Tanaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Francis,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay, next up is item number 8F1, Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council. Agenda item 8F1 is approval of the contract services agreement between the City of Hawthorne and the City of Gardena for senior case management services beginning July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021. Under this agreement, the City of Gardena will provide case management services to the senior citizens residing in the City of Hawthorne. The designated staff in Gardena's Senior Bureau will provide a minimum of 1 hour case management services at the City of Hawthorne per week. Additionally, an average of 3 hours per week of case management services will be provided at either the Hawthorne Senior Center, the Gardena Senior Citizens Bureau, or in the field with clients. City of Hawthorne is also providing an in-kind contribution of a meeting space at the Hawthorne Senior Center with a value of $424.67 per month, or $5,096 a year. The services provided are funded through LA County. The financial impact is a grant funded by LA County SSP, and what's required is to approve the contract services agreement.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? I have one question. At the last meeting, was it the City of Lawndale we approved this with, or correct?
That's correct.
Okay, because I know I saw this before. Okay, that's my only question. Any other questions or comments? If not, can I get a motion to approve the agreement between City of Hawthorne and the City of Gardena for senior case management services beginning July 1 through June 30th, 2021?
Move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Henderson and a second by Councilmember Cascanian. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian,
Yes.
Councilmember Tanaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Francis,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Next up is item number 9A1, Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda item 9A1 is a designation of voting delegate representative for the League of California Cities first virtual annual conference, October 7th through 9th, 2020. Consistent with League bylaws, the city's voting delegate must be designated by its City Council. As Gardena's delegate to the LA County League of California Cities, Councilmember Rodney Tanaka is available to attend to represent the City of Gardena at the state's annual conference and expo, and will be available to serve in this capacity. Therefore, staff recommends that the City Council designate Councilmember Tanaka to represent the City of Gardena as its official voting delegate during the annual conference this October. Council action regarding selection of a voting delegate is advised by August 31st, 2020, and the selection information attested by the City Clerk will be submitted to the League of California Cities by the required 2020 deadline. There is no financial impact. What's required is to designate the voting delegate.
Okay. So at this time, Councilmember Tanaka, do you still accept this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, there'll be no golfing on the virtual one, so just so you know.
No.
Okay. Okay, with that being said, if there are no other questions or comments, if not, can I get a motion to designate Councilmember Tanaka as the designated voting delegate?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Francis and a second by Councilmember Cascanian. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Francis,
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Henderson,
Oh, I don't know. Yes.
Mayor Serta,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Thank you.
Okay, have fun. Okay, next up is council directives. Does any member of the council have any directives at this time?
I do, Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Cascanian.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager, can we follow up with this construction that it's going on? It's been going on the corner of Western and Marine. I think, I don't know, they were gonna do a youth center or, you know, or whatever it was. And they've been changing it, and there's a construction going on at this time. The second, I've seen U-Haul, they paved the corner of Rosecrans and Van Ness. And do we know what their purpose for this? I mean, what they're gonna do? And the last one is corner of Marine and Western again. This time it's the southeast corner. I see a lot of, it's becoming like a homeless embankment now over there. So a lot of homeless people sleeping over there. So do we know what's going on with that, or should we call the owner, do something about it?
So we would need a second.
I'll second that. I'll second that. 'Cause those are my things. Sorry about
Went
that.
on and on, we forgot to second.
A couple of them were questions.
Yeah, a couple of questions. Those are my same ones, so I second.
We will provide a report for all three of them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, any more directives?
I have I guess a follow-up one. Last council meeting, I asked about having our economic development director look into coming up with a plan for our businesses to get involved in social media, you know, Groupon and, you know, get on Facebook, just to help promote the businesses, because I see it going in a lot of other cities, or maybe Gardena Restaurant Week or something, but just something to help promote our businesses, because a lot of our businesses are mom and pop type organizations, and they may not have all the expertise or backgrounds to put together a website. I have seen, I think I saw Sushi Somo Facebook, and they had like 1,000 likes. So, and it's been very busy there. I've noticed, you know, as I drive around. So I don't know what happened with it, or I was kind of hoping that we can come up, or maybe I just need to be more clear. Maybe we just need a whole active campaign to promote the businesses. We have 250 multicultural restaurants, and that's very unique for a city such as ours, a small city. And they're all very good. You know, I'm not going to name all my favorites, but because I haven't gotten around all of them. But, you know, I think we should do more, because we need, you know, if Gardena is going to grow, our businesses have got to be revitalized. And this may be a way.
Councilmember Francis, I know for a fact that Economic Development Manager Spencer Dela Cruz is currently working on that. He's not quite done yet. I got an update from him yesterday that he's still working on it. So I don't have an update for your directive yet this week. So if you would afford us more time, we want to do a more comprehensive look and plan on this. I'm sure it's going to be something really good.
Okay, sure. Because I have 3 more, but I'll wait.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
The next time, I don't want to overwhelm. So I'll wait till next time, next council meeting. I'll bring it.
Okay,
Can I just ask a question about Councilmember Francis's question though?
sure.
Isn't there a site somewhere that Spencer put out as far as restaurants that were open for takeout? Did I remember seeing something like that?
Right, it's within, Councilmember Tanaka, it's within the Economic Development website, Gardena Awaits. There is a map there that shows what, you know, all these restaurants and takeouts are doing. So there's currently a feature that does that. I think what Councilmember Francis has requested is more of a social media type of interface with, and not just on our website, more like Facebook, Instagram, type of Groupon type of deal. So Spencer's
We
working
could
on that.
extend that one also though, couldn't we?
Correct. Yeah, yes.
Okay,
that's
fine.
exactly what Spencer is working on,
Okay,
and
that's fine.
it takes a little bit of time because of the interface with the different social media
Absolutely.
outlets. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any more directives? If not, we're going to move on to our city manager remarks regarding our previous directives and council items.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, I do have a few memos that I've submitted for you. The first one is a memo, a cover memo that I prepared based on Chief Appel's report on what we're doing for future fireworks enforcement. And I do want to emphasize that this is one part of that directive. The other part was a separate directive, which is the changing of the ordinance that allows the city to administratively cite violators. So that portion is still in the works, and we'll be forwarding that to you pretty soon. The second memo I have is directive from last council meeting for a simulator for force options. Chief Appel did a great job in outlining what this is and what it does. So that's something for you guys to read and consider. We do have a report for you regarding the listening tour that took place in July. We've gathered a lot of different ideas and opinions from our community, and we want to be able to, I want to make sure that we're responsive to their needs and make sure that this listening tour is very fruitful. I want to say that the meetings were attended by over 200 residents. Do have a memo as well as far as the directive on receivership. There's very lengthy information on what receivership and what it does and how we do it. We do have a blood drive at some of the public service announcement. We have a blood drive on Wednesday, September 16th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Gardena Elks Lodge. I'd like you all to come out and participate. Sorry. And I want to share our Madam City Clerk, can I share my screen for a second?
Yes, you can.
I'm showing that the host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay, you can do so now.
Okay, thank you. So just as I have been sharing this with our viewers and our city council, can everyone see the update?
Yes.
I do want to provide an update as far as how the coronavirus is affecting our city. The total case count is 965 to date. That is up 157 cases from the last time I showed this over 2 weeks ago. Total death count is up to 36 now. And the infection rate is up to 1.62%. It's up 0.27% from the last time I shared this with you. We do want to note that we have had 31 grant applications for the CARES Act grant, and I'm happy to say that all 31 applications have been approved. And the total CARES Act fund is over $367,000. Next graph, it just shows you the total number of cases and the trend line. The bars that you see here are the total cases from when this thing happened in March, and then the dots is the trend line. As you can see, it is still outpacing the trend line. And as I said, there's unfortunately there's a total of 36 total deaths to date. So this is just a snapshot of what this virus is doing to our community. We do have a short video today. I just want to read this On August 5th, 2020, the Recreation and Human Services Department held their first safety sack giveaway. The safety sack included hand sanitizer, a mask, and school supplies. A special thanks to the 2020 California Census, the Gardena Police Officers Association, the charitable funds benefiting Gardena, G-Trans, Costco, Pentel, Harbor Gateway, North Chamber, Sam's Autoland, and Target for donating school supplies for over 750 children that attend Gardena schools. Also, a special thank you to city volunteers, board members, and commissioners for helping distribute the bags. And we have a short video. And last but not least, I want to greet Councilmember Francis' belated happy birthday, and also City Clerk Mina Sabenza, happy birthday. I believe tomorrow is your birthday. Happy birthday.
All right.
Mayor Sardo, on my report.
Okay, thank you. Question in regards to the COVID update. Do we ever get clarified if those, the numbers that we're getting, are they actually inside of Gardena, or does that include the unincorporated mailing address? Do we know that yet or not necessarily?
Unfortunately, I believe this includes some portions of unincorporated, Gardena. There's no way to parse out that section because of the, I believe the zip code is.
Okay, so that's the cases, that applies to the cases and the deaths.
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
The county doesn't distinguish the two. The county doesn't have a separate, when they say Gardena, it's just Gardena.
Okay, and I just want to just give a special shout out to the for the backpack giveaway. I think that was great how you guys incorporated so many different groups in there. Had our youth commissioners there, had our different various employees, and to my colleagues, those of you guys who were able to attend it. Thank you guys. I think that always is such a great collaboration of everybody, getting involved, our commissioners, staff, and council members. So thank you guys to everyone involved with that. Okay. With that being said, let's go ahead and move on to our council remarks. We're going to begin tonight with Councilmember Tanaka.
Madam Mayor.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Hold on. Yes.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor. I'm not sure if this is permissible, but we have a member of the public at this point who wants to speak again.
Okay, what we'll do is we will let him speak after the council report.
Okay, thank you.
Just hold on. Yes. Go ahead, Councilmember Tanaka.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So since our last meeting, attended the DCS net check-in on Monday night. I did attend the back to school giveaway, and it was just an awesome day to see all the kids, and they were just so appreciative of the things that they've got. Councilmember Francis and Mayor Pro Tem were there. So it was a good day that we represented. Attended the Gardena Cinema along with the LA Arts. They did a outside movie in the parking lot at the Gardena Cinema. It was pretty well attended by people parking in the lot. It was kind of like a little mini drive-in, so it was a good night. And attended the South Bay COG steering committee meeting. I'd like to thank the chief, especially his staff, for the reports that they did in regards to fireworks and the other issues that they brought up with the virtual machine that we're looking at obtaining. The reports were just well done. I want to give a shout out to those in the police department that put in all those years. Brian Juckett was one of my guys. He started when after I was already there, and I watched him grow through his career. He is just a great asset for that department and will truly be missed. And Sharon, I knew Sharon when she was an employee there. She was a hard worker. But most of all, I'd like to just thank Gina for all the things that she did working for 6 different police chiefs. She was pretty much a staple there. She could have actually run that department by herself. Nothing against you, Chief Savell, but she probably knew pretty much everything there. But I just want to thank them for that. Was 100 years worth of service that just retired, and it's a great loss to our city. But with Mike behind the wheel right now, I think we'll be able to make that up. So that ends my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Mayor Pro Tem Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Since our last meeting, I attended the National League of Cities event titled Addressing Economic Recovery. That's something that's first and foremost on every governing body's mind in regards to what do we do about our economic recovery and how do we get collaboration from our federal level as well as our state level. I also attended the California Legislative Black Caucus town hall with Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara in regards to small business support. Great thing is our community is actually doing some of the small business support in regards to our grants and everything. Unfortunately, there's not enough funding to go around, and we did try to do it as equitable as possible, but it's a testament to that, we're kind of forward thinking in a lot of things that we're doing. I attended a Business Federation discussion regarding LAUSD's bond extension and everything. That was a real robust discussion by the members there. LAUSD representatives explained the whole, how do you extend the bond? What is it they're trying to do? Adding more technology to their campuses as well as upgrading their facilities. We have quite a few LAUSD schools in our community, so we brought up a discussion about the 4 corners of every school, putting some wireless access, if it's feasible, to make sure we can get some community coverage and maybe start working on closing that digital divide. So that's foregoing if the voters actually pass that bond extension. Our BizFed COVID task force meeting, we discussed the economic stimulus from the Heroes and Heals activity coming out of the Fed. So that's still, we're all waiting to see what that is. I was a panelist at the SCS Nunes Young Scholars panel. They wanted to know what it takes to be an elected official and everything. So I dropped some nuggets on them regarding that. Definitely told them you have to have love for the people and desire to serve your community. I have a SCAG meeting tomorrow, our legislative meeting tomorrow. Last Friday, I participated in the LA County Public Health phone call just for elected officials to give us a little bit more insight in regards to how we can respond and govern through this COVID crisis. I was at the backpack giveaway. I kind of backed into that because I was there to see Chief Safel regarding the follow-up to the listening tour. That was great. So while I was at the backpack giveaway, I made sure that Councilman Tanaka didn't take all the highlighters. So he didn't take any of the highlighters. He did take all the post-it note pads, though, so we got to get those filled back up. What else? Over the weekend, I socially distanced and attended on the council's behalf. For those that were there, weren't there at the time, I was there at the Cashmere Gatekeepers weekend. Usually this is their weekend. They have a big barbecue and everything with social distancing. Everybody was in their front yard. So myself and Mrs. Michelle Henderson went through and met everybody socially distancing. So I sent greetings on behalf of our council and everything. So everybody appreciated that. And then I participated in the Black Man March in LA event to just discuss some of the things that are going on in society in regards to racism and public health and different things like that. We talked about policing and different things like that. And I was able to tout the fact that in our city, to be so small, we're actually looking forward to doing a lot of things first and continuing our first and just making sure that we keep our community involved and included and transparency is our goal. So folks are definitely looking at us as we have these discussions. Steve, thank you for this listening to a report. There's a lot of detail in there as we kind of still comb through this and work through this process. So I'm thankful for that. I still want to encourage our community to make sure we stay safe. There's still a pandemic out there. We're all tired of being home, but we still have to make sure we reduce the spread. So please wear your mask, think about your family members, and think about your neighbors. Madam Mayor, so ends my report.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Councilmember Francis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I also attended the safety backpack giveaway, and it was very well organized. Give a shout out to Recreation Parks for organizing the event. Over 700 children received backpacks, and that includes school supplies. In addition to the backpacks, they also received face masks. And I want to thank Ms. Wanda Love, Executive Director of the Gardena Chamber of Commerce, for donating those face masks to our children. I also attended the South Bay COG, and I listened to a presentation along with Councilmember Tanaka that LA County Commission on Human Relations is coordinating an anti-hate program. And after I get more information on it, I'd like to see us maybe be a participant in that as well. And I'm most excited about having attended a meeting with Superintendent Michael Romero and Ms. Rosemary Martinez, Nikki Sweeney, Stephanie Satin, and our whole focus of the meeting was establishing a City of Gardena Community Schools partnership. And one exciting thing that's happened with our local District 8 was the local District South is that all the Gardena schools are a community, only Gardena schools. And, we talked about being a separate part away from LAUSD. Well, we get to do that now. And Superintendent Romero is very excited about it. Part of the whole plan of the partnership is to mutually support our schools, our school community, the Gardena school community, and we're actually doing some great things. People don't know that we have 2 nationally recognized Blue Ribbon schools. We have a California Distinguished School, about 5 California Distinguished Schools, 1 Title I recognition, and these are awards that are given to schools because they've earned academic achievement. And they increase academic achievement. So it's a good kept secret. And Mayor Serta, they remembered you. They thank you for attending the town hall meeting. And Dr. Barnett over at Perch Avenue, thank you again for attending their school beautification. And so they welcome our participation. They want this partnership, and it is as it should be. And I'll give you more information on that as we meet more regular on that. But Superintendent Romero is very excited about that, and I am too. Because, great schools, great community, great families. And also, I offer my congratulations to Gina Ayers and Sergeant Jerkett. And if I get your names, I'll charge it to my head, not my heart. But Sharon Robinson for their years of service to our city. 40 years, 18 years is a long time to do anything. And I congratulate you, and I commend your commitment and dedication to our city. It's staff like you, employees like you that make Gardena a great place to live, work, and play. And I appreciate you. Thank you so very much for your service. And I hope we'll continue to grow employees like you. Thank you so much. And that ends my report.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, wait, one more thing.
Go ahead.
I got to mention this. I was also at the drive-in pop-up at the Gardena Cinema on Friday with Rodney, and Dan Medina was there as well. And we saw Pee Wee Herman's Wild Adventures. It was a great movie. I forgot about Pee Wee Herman, but I laughed so much. And there were about 60 people there, 60 cars, just 60 cars. So we practiced social distancing. She opened up concessions, so I got real movie popcorn I haven't had since in months. And the candies and the nachos, and it was just a great time. She had a little pre-show, and she's going to be there every Friday and Saturday through August, and I think probably all the way through October. So please support Judy Kim and the Gardena Cinema. It's one of the few remaining old school theaters that's in South Bay, period, and in Los Angeles County area. And also they're showing Jurassic Park this weekend. And I know, we've seen it already, but it's always nice to go back and see it again. The kids will love it. And in fact, they have the cinematographer, Dave, I can't think of his name right now, but he'll be there to answer questions after the show. So please come out and support Gardena Cinema and Miss Judy Kim. And thank her. Her dad was in the booth, in the ticket booth, just like old times. Her dad was there. Mom was working concession. Judy was there, just like it was yesterday. So I was very excited about that. So thank you for your time. And thank you, City Manager, for all your hard work. And Ms. City Attorney, thank you so much for all that you do for us. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. For myself, since the last council meeting, I did not get a chance to attend any Gardena events, but I'd like to thank my colleagues for going to all the different things that you guys attended, the drive-in, the back-to-school giveaway. And, the one thing I always say about this council is somebody from our council is going to show up if one or two of us are missing. And I really appreciate you guys. We always just kind of cover each other. But since the last council meeting, I did have the opportunity to attend the funeral services of Congressman John Lewis and be a part of the whole event in DC as well as in Atlanta. I didn't get a chance to attend the Alabama services, but I just wanted to just make mention of the fact that the entire thing was just so moving, and to be able to be a part of that. I fortunately had the opportunity to get to know Congressman Lewis when he was here in LA, and just be able to talk to him, and he was just living history, and just so amazing. And we read about people like him, but he was actually able to sit there and tell us about, what transpired, when they were going through all the different movements and all the different times of, being arrested. And it was always just amazing just hearing him talk. But, it was a sad occasion, but it was just great to see so many people there, just, honoring him. Martin Luther King's son, former President Obama, former President Bill Clinton, and former President Bush as well. Just seeing all of these people come and just honor the life of him. And like I said, it was like nothing I've ever experienced, and being able to be part of the whole motorcade and watching the people everywhere the body went, stand outside, wave, hold signs up. And as you drove through Atlanta, police officers, firemen, they stood in large numbers, 10, 15, and they just stood there with their hands over their heart. And it was so moving. I mean, it just really made you want to cry. And this was throughout the entire city of Atlanta, and even going through DC. So, once again, I got a chance to see our Congresswoman Maxine Waters while I was there, and she was very happy and pleased to know that, we were there from the city of Gardena just to pay honor to this great man. So with that being said, I know we already adjourned in his memory, but I just wanted to share that with my colleagues. And I want to thank a couple of you who sent me messages while I was in DC and Atlanta, that you had the opportunity to, meet him. And we really appreciate that. And his family appreciated all the kind words. They were watching the city council meeting, and they appreciated the condolences that you guys gave at the last council meeting. So thank you very much from the family. So with that ends my report. And next up is Councilmember Cascanian.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, I would like to congratulate our retirees, Gina Iris. Thank you, Gina, for all that work. 40 years, that's a lot of years. That's a lot of years. As Rodney mentioned it, I mean, probably she knows everything what's going on in that department. So hats off for Gina. And congratulations as well to Brian Jacket. Thank you for your service, sir. We do really appreciate it. And thank you to Sharon Pasley for your job well done, and the support that you gave the department. And Madam Mayor, I would like to, I don't have any other reports, Madam Mayor. I couldn't be able to attend, but I would like to adjourn today's meeting in a memory of very dear friends of us, that she was a 23 years old nurse. She passed at the explosion that happened in Lebanon, Beirut. The explosion was horrific. It destroyed almost 1/3 of the city. They said it was 25% of the power of atomic bomb of Hiroshima. It was a nitrate an ammonium that exploded. The reason unknown. It was at the port of Lebanon, Beirut. The nurse, Jessica Bejjian, she's a nurse. She was called to the hospital to, help out with all the injuries and everything. While she was entering the hospital, a piece of glass that it was shattered and was hanging up in the higher elevation fell on her and just killed her instantly. So it was terrible news that we are getting from Beirut. And another lady that very close to us, she passed away too as well. She was 40 years old. Her name was Zina, and her organs was exploded from the pressure. So I would like to adjourn the meeting, Madam Mayor, in their memory. And that's my report, Madam Mayor.
What was the young lady Zina's last name? Do you have that?
I don't, yes, Zina Darouche, Darouch, Darouche.
Okay, thank you. Madam City Clerk, I'm going to read the announcements first, and then we'll let that one speaker speak. Okay.
Thank you.
So the couple of announcements that we have, it was mentioned earlier tonight about the blood drive. I have the flyer. I'll give you a little bit more information here. The City of Gardena and the Gardena Elks Lodge 1919 are hosting a UCLA blood drive on Wednesday, September 16, 2020 at 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And the address for the Gardena Elks Lodge is 1735 West 162nd Street, and that's in Gardena. The UCLA Bloodmobile will be in the back parking lot. To ensure, in order to ensure measures for appropriate social distancing, we strongly encourage you to make an appointment in the following ways. You can go online at www.ucedonor.com and click on blood drive and enter ELK-G in the account code. You can also call area code 310-825-0888 extension 2 or email gotblood@mednet.ucla.edu. Also, let's see. Normally this time of year, we would be preparing for our annual jazz festival, but due to COVID, we can't have a jazz festival. So what is being planned is on August the 23rd, the day we would normally have the jazz festival, on Channel 22, as well as on Gardena's YouTube channel, we will have highlights of the past 17 years of the jazz festival. I don't know exactly what time it will be, but I was told to just stay tuned on Channel 22 as well as YouTube. And let's see, we will be airing some of the best performances from over the years. So again, that'll be August 23rd. Also, our 90th anniversary is on September the 11th, and the city has planned a special event on Saturday, September 12th. So stay tuned for more details as we kick off our year-long celebration. And just lastly, I just once again want to reiterate a special happy birthday to Councilmember Francis, as well as City Clerk Semenza. Normally, if this was a normal time, we would have cake and we would be singing happy birthday, but that will, when COVID's over, I'm sure we're going to have to do a massive cake for the entire city for all the birthdays we missed. So that's normally what we would do. And I know you're a new member, so you might not know our little custom behind in the back office here, but it's coming. So with that, I'm going to go to the one speaker that wishes to speak. Ms. Semenza, go ahead. Or City Clerk Semenza, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Sorry, I don't mean to take too much time. I know it's getting late, but happy birthday to Ms. Francis there. And then tomorrow, I hope you enjoy your day, Madam City Clerk. If we could put maybe the population on those COVID slides on the statistics, it'd be nice to say, you know, the population of Gardena as compared to how many people are getting it, because I think it's less than 2%, and the death rate. It'd be nice to know the numbers. What was the death rate for the last 4 years around this time too, just to compare? I think, once again, I think I've asked that before, and so I'm just curious if we can get that too, just to put everything in context. I think that would be enlightening for some of us. And then last but not least, Councilman Francis, please don't wait. You're like the fresh blood on the city council. If you have stuff, bring it forward, because otherwise it's going to be the same old stuff. And please be patient, as I'm trying to be patient too with the city. You're going to ask for stuff, and it's going to be delayed over and over and over, and there's going to be obstacles and due to COVID and delays. So please, patience, but please be persistent. Keep going for us. I feel you and the Councilman Henderson are speaking for us, the citizens. I really, really, really appreciate that. So please feel encouraged. Councilman Tuskegee, and I'm so sorry for your loss. It's horrible. So I'll keep you in my prayers for that as well. And then last but not least, I just want to really push, open up the parks, please, and open up the churches. I'm so happy for you, Madam Mayor, that you were able to experience that and go to a funeral. We've had some loved ones that are not able to do that, and sometimes even in our city. So you can kind of see there's, you know, you're able to do that, and not a lot of us are able to do that. So I'm begging from the citizens, please open up stuff, please. So that's all I have. I don't want to take too much time. Thank you for putting up with me. You guys are awesome. Have a great night. Please enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you.
Okay, so with that, we're going to move on to adjournments. So tonight, we're going to adjourn in memory of Mr. Greg O'Donnell, who was 58 years of age, and he was the beloved stepfather of Long Beach Mayor Robert Garcia. He passed away one day after his wife's memorial service. We're also going to adjourn in memory of Miss Jessica Beya, who was 23 years old, a nurse, and she passed away in Lebanon, Beirut, at the explosion while helping others. And she was a friend of Councilmember Kaskanian. Also a friend of Councilmember Kaskanian, who passed away, was Miss Zena Darush, who was 40 years old. So at this time, the Gardena City Council will adjourn to our next closed session portion of the City Council meeting, which will be at 7 p.m. And followed by a regular City Council meeting, which will be at 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday, September the 8th. Our August 25th, 2020 meeting has been canceled for now. So with that, we are adjourned. Thank you, guys.
Good night, everybody. Stay safe. Wear your mask.
Yes.
Night.